Hi, if you made a 100 on the study guide today, go ahead and stop watching. This video is not for you. Regardless of how many questions you missed though, you need to watch at least whatever part of this study guide for whatever questions you missed. So we'll just get started, go 1 through 10. The questions weren't scrambled, so you don't have to worry about that. Number 1, we've got that triangle was rotated 90 degrees counterclockwise. So that would be this one was rotated 90 degrees counterclockwise. So there it is. Basically, picture this triangle being turned, kind of tilt your head to the right 90 degrees and you'll see how it should have looked. Now, if you do that, you'll notice this angle would be the one that would be facing downward. So when it's asking you later on which angle is the same as angle Y, picture this angle being moved so that it is now facing downward. That will match with angle J. Those two are the equivalent angles. The answer should have been J for number 1. For number 2, it was asking which sequence will move triangle 1 to triangle 2 and then again to triangle 3. So it wants to know in that order. So first of all, this triangle, nothing really changed other than where it was. So if the triangle looks exactly the same but is in a different place, that is a translation. But then you look at it again and it looks like it was turned 90 degrees. That is a rotation. So we want this answer choice right here. That is a translation first, then a rotation. So that's going to be the answer for number 2. Number 3, getting into scale factors, things we've been working on particularly the last 2 days. It was asking what scale factor was used to create figure 2. So here's my original, 3 centimeters, and my new shape is 12 centimeters. We've talked about this. It's all based on multiplication and or division. In this case, something happened to that 3 to turn it into a 12. So this is 3 times something equals 12. If necessary, you can solve this using algebra, but most of you can work out 3 times 4 is what you were looking for number 3. Make sure you don't have it backwards. Make sure you know they were going from 1 to 2, because if you did it backwards, 1/4 was an answer choice in case you did not read that question clearly enough. For number 4, we have another one asking what scale factor was used. Again, something we've been practicing. So we started at figure A, B, C, D, and it tells us that A prime, B prime, C prime, and D prime is a dilation. So my original is the bigger shape, meaning something happened to my 27 to turn it into 9, something happened to my 15 to turn it into 5. Now you can work out probably that those are dividing by 3, but how would that look as a dilation? What scale factor would that actually be? Because the scale factor is not going to be 3, I'll tell you that much. You want the original shape, 15, times something, which equals 5. If you do algebra to actually isolate the variable, just like that, you end up with x equals 5 over 15, which simplifies to 1/3. That is our scale factor, and it works with all of the sides in this shape. 1/3 was the value we wanted. And that's it for number 4. Let's move on to number 5 once I clear the screen. For number 5, I think you are getting the picture here that a lot of these questions were scale factor problems. So if these are the problems you were having trouble on, definitely make sure that you're writing down exactly what you were supposed to do for these. For number 5, it tells us the length of side ST is 18 feet. It then tells us that the length, or excuse me, it's asking what the length of S prime and T prime in a dilated figure that had a scale factor of 3. Okay, well, it told us the original side, which was 18, and it told us the scale factor. All you have to do is multiply. You're doing 18 feet times the scale factor, which is 3, and that's going to give you the answer, which was 54. That's what we wanted for number 5. We'll go ahead and move to number 6. For number 6, this was asking which dilation has a scale factor of 2/3. Now, we can go ahead and go back down and look at these. Right away, you can eliminate 2 of these answer choices immediately. It is definitely not this first option or second option because they are no longer right triangles. Automatically, that means it can't be a dilation. The angles should not change. So for number 6, the first 2 options are gone. We just have to double check the rest of this. So if that's my scale factor, 2/3, I need to do 9 times 2/3 and 6 times 2/3. And assuming I do 9 times 2/3, I will get 6. And assuming I do 6 times 2/3, I should get 4. So my new triangle, whatever it is, should have a base of 4 and a height of 6. Or if they also rotated the shape, it could have a base of 6 and a height of 4. Bottom line is 6 and 4 is what we are looking for. So check the answer choices. That's going to be the last answer choice, which would be, I guess, D. So yeah, just be careful with that. For this one, it's asking which rectangle is similar to this rectangle below. So we're looking for something that changed proportionally to this rectangle. So my original one had a height of 2, and it had a base of, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it was a 2x4 rectangle. So we just need something that is proportional to 2x4. So let's check our answer choices. This first one is 1x2. Well, if I took 2x4 and divided both of those by 2, that would work. That should give me a rectangle that is just 1x2. So theoretically, this should be the only answer. Let's just double check to be safe. It's definitely not the second choice. That one is, all they did was they shortened it base-wise. This one is not going to work. All they did was lengthen it. And that one, all they did was shorten it. So yeah, it's the first answer choice. 8 is interesting because at first glance, you might be forgiven for saying, oh, none of them are similar because none of them look the same. You have to keep in mind they rotated this angle and then reflected it. So first they redrew this so that way it was facing this direction. I forgive the bad drawing, but first they did this and then they reflected it so that way everything was kind of backwards. So do watch out for that. They are really similar. It's not a typo. I didn't type in the wrong answers for this one. But we're looking for a triangle that's proportional to something that is 5x12. So let's just kind of see if there's any obvious correct answers first of all, before we start beating ourselves up. So the bottom number should be a multiple of 5 if we were trying to make it easy. And it looks like that bottom one is the only one that works. So if I did say 5 times 2, that gives me 10. 12 times 2, that gives me 24. So without even really looking at the other 3 options, we can basically just skip straight to our answer, which is kind of the beauty of multiple choice scale factor problems, is you can kind of use those answer choices to your advantage. For number 9, which transformations exhibit similarity of triangles ABC to A prime, B prime, and C prime shown below? So for this one, we're trying to figure out, okay, how are these 2 triangles related? What happened? I hope none of you missed this one because this is a very clear dilation. The shape looks exactly the same in kind of the same area. It's just a completely different size. The only type of transformation that does that is a dilation. The others, the shape should have stayed exactly the same. And the last problem, it was asking you which statement can be used to prove that triangle A is similar to triangle B shown in that coordinate plane. For this one, okay, so there are 2 answer choices that mention dilations. We can clearly see it's a dilation. One shape is a different size. So that's out and that's out. The problem is it's telling both of them used a different scale factor for their answer choices. One of them said that triangle A was dilated about the origin by a scale factor of 2 in order to obtain triangle B. So they're saying they took triangle A and they multiplied everything by 2, and that gave them triangle B. You can kind of look at that and see that doesn't match up. That's kind of backwards. Triangle A shrunk. And if your shape is shrinking, if it's getting smaller, that means the scale factor had to be less than 1, which means it had to be this answer choice. And just so we can double check to make sure that we're right, the old height for this triangle was supposed to be 4, and the old base for this triangle was supposed to be, let's see, 1, 2, 3, also 4. Which means my new triangle, if I multiplied 4 by 1/2, I should get a height of 2, which it is, and a base of 2, which again, it also is. So for number 10, we wanted that last answer choice. And that's it for the study guide. I hope that it helped, and I hope that you actually wrote down stuff that you felt would help you on tomorrow's test, because at this point we've re-reviewed similarity. So yeah, plan on tomorrow's test counting for a formal grade. Good luck.